My father, Eddie Del Mar, showed me that in order for film as an art to be close to reality, there should be a deliberate effort of making each scene as precise as possible. And there's a great responsibility for the role player to breathe life into the character. And he was really very passionate about this.
Halika, Emong. Dito ka maupo sa tabi ko.
Kamusta ho kayo, Mansianong?
Salamat naman, Emong. Pinaunlakan mo ko.
Ba't man ho hindi? Matagal na ho tayo magkasama.
Oo, matagal na. Higit na 20 taon. 20 taon na kitang ginugupitan, ano?
Magpagaling ho kayo, Mansianong. Yun ho importante.
Alam ko ang sakit ko. Hindi na ako gagaling, Emong. Alam kong araw na lang ang inihintay ko.
Mansianong naman ho.
Lumapit ka, anak. Ang kinalulungkot ko lamang, hindi na ako makakaroon ng pagkakataong magupitan kita muli.
Anong malay nyo, Mansianong? Sa ibang lugar tayo maggupitan.
Kung sa bagay, malamang yan.
Noy, nabubulagan ako. Ngayon inalis ng kasawian ang aking piring upang makita ko ang kakilakilabot na kabulokang sumisira sa bayang ito. At sila ang nagbukas sa aking mga mata. Pinilit nila akong magkasala. At siyang inibig nilang gayon ay maging filibustero ako. Tatawagin ko lahat ng mga nahihirapan. Ang lahat nung sa loob ng kanilang dibdib ay nakararamdam na may tumitubok na puso. At kami maghihimagsik.
Ang bayan na hindi nag-isip na humiwalay sa Espanya. Ang hinihiling lamang ay kaunting kalayaan, kaunting katwiran, kaunting pag-ibig.
Sa loob ng 300 taon na inilad natin sa kanila ang ating mga kamay, hiningan sila natin ang pag-ibig. Hinangad natin sila matawag ng mga kapatid. Ngunit tanong itinugon sa atin, mga pagkutya at halos hindi tayo kilalaning mga tao.
Huwag na kayong maglihim sa akin. Nalalaman ko ang lahat ng masamang balita tungkol sa ating anak.
He was a consummate talent who acted in almost 50 films, playing many roles during his lifetime. But there was one role that he was fated to portray, a dream role that seemed to have been waiting for him to play. He played that role in just 3 movies. But those movies made Rizal come to life on the big screen. Even today, his name is associated with Rizal, and his face has stayed in our memory for all time. Eduardo Sangalang Magat was born on October 13, 1919, in Candaba, Pampanga, the son of Albino Magat and Benigna Sangalang.
Ang father namin, hindi siya nakapag-aral nga, ano? But he was very smart in providing for the family. Palagi siyang, ang kanyang achievement palagi barangay captain ang tawag noon.
Nung panahon na yan, madala nga nag-aaral. Pinag-aaral lang magulang. Siya lang ang pinag-aaral. Sila nga marunong dito. Pinag-aaral tatabino.
After finishing his Associate in Arts course, he enrolled at UST to study medicine. But the war intervened. After the war, he resumed his medical studies until a classmate of his, Lucas Lucero, a relative of the Veras of the Sampaguita Pictures, brought him along to a party at the Vera residence.
According to my brother, nagparte si Mrs. Vera. Inimbita ni Mrs. Vera yung mother-in-law ng kuya, si Aling Dominga Antonio. While they were having this party along the swimming pool of the Sampaguita Picture venue, yung kanyang son-in-law, si Dr. Perez, told Aling Dominga na may itsura itong manugang mo, baka gustong mag-artista. Sabi ni Aling Dominga, tanungin niyo siya. So, tinanong siya at pretty soon he was asked to go to Sampaguita for a screen test.
He was offered a screen test under Jerry De Leon's direction. He passed the test, and he was introduced as Eduardo Del Mar in Capilla sa May Daang Bakal, starring Oscar Moreno and Tita Duran, directed by Tor Villano. In 1947, he was next cast in La Paloma, again directed by Tor Villano, with Paraluman, Fred Montilla, and Lilian Leonardo as lead stars. He made quite an impression that his star was soon on the rise. In the years that followed, Eddie was kept busy doing movies. Among them, Lumang Simbahan in 1949, Kilabot sa Makiling and Juramentado in 1950, and Lebrun's first anniversary movie presentation, The Spell, which was in English.
My father was one of the stars of Premier Production, and during that time, he was known to be a very good action star. A turning point in his career was when he was given the role of Crisostomo Ibarra in the film Sisa, where Anita Linda was in the lead role.
It was at Premier Productions that he renewed acquaintance with director Gerardo de Leon, with whom he made his most memorable film, Sisa, where he took on the role of Crisostomo Ibarra. His performance in that film generated much interest and garnered an acting nomination, overshadowed only by Anita Lindas, who was named Best Actress that year.
Sisa daw is like the Philippines. The Philippines. Bakit? Parang madaling nalimutan? Hindi ba nalimutan ng tao si Sisa?
The 1951 film itself won the top Maria Clara Award. That film changed his showbiz career forever, for it would influence his movie project choices for the rest of his life, in favor of movies with patriotic and heroic themes. The following year, he played the title role of Troubadour, a Filipino folk hero who was a rig driver by day and a protector of the oppressed by night.
Yung pelikula na Troubadour, naalala ko na siya, yung superhero siya ro na disguise sa umaga, yan, kutsero nga siya na nag-aano ng kalesa. Tapos sa gabi, may maskara, parang Zorro na siya. Makikita mo yung action stunts na na yung nagpo-pole boat siya, tumatalon sa kabayo, pagtatumbling.
A few years later, he was the lead actor in Bandilang Pula in 1955, for which he would receive his first FAMAS nomination as Best Actor. It marked his elevation to the top echelon of Philippine cinema. In 1960, Eddie starred in a sci-fi movie, Tokyo, which was filmed in Japan. He was in demand as an actor, but nothing would compare to his stirring and unforgettable performance as the national hero in the movie Ang Buhay at Pag-ibig ni Dr. Jose Rizal, directed by Ramon Estela. This was not lost on the FAMAS jury, who gave Eddie Del Mar the Best Actor Award for 1956, one of the highlights of his acting career. Thus began Eddie's association with Rizaliana movies. It wasn't the first time Jose Rizal was portrayed on the silver screen, but it was Eddie Del Mar's uncanny likeness to Rizal and his portrayal that have endeared him most to moviegoers. So effective and memorable in his portrayal of the national hero that in the minds of moviegoers, he and Rizal were one.
I think of all the actors who have portrayed Rizal, and there have been a number, no? Recently, Joel Torre, you have Albert Martinez, even Pen Medina. Parang he was the one that was most associated with the role, no? And I think because he did not only play Rizal, he played Rizal in Buhay at Pag-ibig ni Jose Rizal in 1956, and then Rizal again in Sayong Kandungan, I think in 1959. But he also played Crisostomo Ibarra twice for Gerardo de Leon, in Sisa in 1951. So he was a young Crisostomo Ibarra then. And then almost 10 years later, in 1961, Crisostomo Ibarra again for Gerardo de Leon's No Le Metangere. So parang siya talaga yung na-equate with that particular role, no?
I'm not quite convinced that he was able to project the full character of Jose Rizal as history had portrayed him.
I remember some of the titles. I think one was called Mahia Blanca with Anita Linda. It's directed by Nemesio Caravana, in which he played a simpleton. And I thought, you know, I had already seen his films, the films in which he portrayed Rizal and Ibarra. And then here he was, from Rizal, he becomes a simpleton, no? And he pulled it off. And I said, yeah, so how can somebody play two sides of a personality, you know? From somebody who is a national hero to somebody who's somehow like an idiot.
After the film Ang Buhay at Pag-ibig ni Dr. Jose Rizal, for which he won the Best Actor Award from the FAMAS, he became a really avid follower of Dr. Jose Rizal. And that changed his career forever because he became more nationalistic in his approach to filmmaking. And the best was yet to come.
5 years later, Eddie Del Mar ventured as a producer himself. His first project, an adaptation of Noli Me Tangere, to commemorate the birth centenary of Rizal in 1961. He conceptualized the film himself and managed to secure financing from investors who were taken in by his passion and enthusiasm. To direct the movie, he chose no less than the master himself, Gerardo de Leon. With Eddie playing the role of Crisostomo Ibarra, the sterling cast included Leopoldo Salcedo as Elias and Edita Vital as Maria Clara. In its first week of showing alone, in the 10th Famas Derby that year, Noli Me Tangere would win the top award for the evening as the best film of the year, while Gerardo de Leon earned another Best Director trophy. But unfortunately, Eddie found stiff competition from his co-star Leopoldo Salcedo, who edged him out for the Best Actor award. Eddie was consoled by his being named as a Knight of Rizal during the 99th birthday of Jose Rizal, a distinction he received in Calamba, Laguna. Eddie continued his winning streak by appearing in Sino ang Matapang in 1962, for which he was nominated again for Best Actor. Jerry De Leon's El Filibusterismo also was released the same year, with Eddie conspicuously absent from the star lineup.
My father got frustrated about not getting the role of the lead character of El Filibusterismo, Simon. He deliberately made himself lose weight so that the angular features would come out. And then one day, he was told that the role went to another person, Pancho Magalona. So he felt bad. He admitted he felt bad about it. You know, it was a choice of the director, Jerry De Leon, to give the role to another person because it's a totally different character. And he wanted Eddie Del Mar to be remembered as the mild-mannered character of Jose Rizal, Crisostomo Ibarra, and another person for El Filibusterismo as Simon.
And dito sa Eddie Del Mar is is the kind of character that I think Rizal conceived as Crisostomo Ibarra. He was, so in other words, raised in an affluent family, so refined kung kumilos, and Eddie was that, no?
As if to showcase his versatility at portraying roles of opposing character and temperament, Eddie appeared as the revolutionary hero in the epic Andres Bonifacio, Ang Supremo. Since then, Eddie Del Mar disappeared from the movie scene. It was his last stint as a film actor.
Pero ang malungkot, hindi na rin napanood ng mga ibang kabataan na sa amin, yung generation namin. It's because yung mga talagang magagandang movies niya, yung mga lead role movies niya, nadamay sa sunog sa premiere.
A son, Louis Magat, briefly dabbled in showbiz, assuming the screen name Eddie Del Mar Jr. to honor his father.
Yung pag-aartista naman ako. Pero yung galing, I doubt dahil Eddie Del Mar is a famous awardee. And we all know that, kung gaan siya kagaling na artista.
On the 8th of November, 1986, Philippine movies lost one of its own. His death did not erase from Eddie Del Mar our memory, for he lives on in his film. Eddie Del Mar was the only actor in Philippine cinema to portray two great heroes, but his life as a family man is no less heroic.
Ang naalala ko yung pagmamahal niya. Dahil minsan, hindi siya nagalit sa akin. Maski pagalitan ko siya, wala, okay lang sa kanya. Layakapin pa ako. Siya pang humihingi ng tawad sa nag-aagawa niya na nung malapit ng mamatay, kumakanta ng Ang Tangi Kong Pag-ibig.
Plus few moments namin, binili niya sa akin wala yung mga kapatid ko. Ako na daw ang bahala kung anong may tutulong ko. So kaya ngayon nga na Ako na tumayong ama.
Itong napangasawa niya, yung si Ate Meli, nagkaanak po ng 8. 8 po yung anak na. Ngayon, nagkatulong silang nagtrabaho, nananahi yung asawa. Siya nang po, siyempre, gumagawa ng mga pelikula yan, ganun, o negosyo. Ganun po sila. Tapos, nung bandang huli po, yung mga kapatid niya nauwi sa Baliwag, si Ate Tanay. Ayun po, nagkakuwang kami ngayon. Tapos nga po, madalas silang umuwi rito sa amin na nagbabandig kami, ganun-ganon, nagkakasama-sama, nagmamahalan, nagbibigayan. Ganun po ang nagiging buhay namin at talaga namang magkakalapit kami dahil magpipinsang buo, nagmamahalan. Ganyan po kami.
Tutuwa naman ako doon sa mga kapatid ko at naitayo rin nila sarili nila.
Kasi naging successful ang kanyang mga anak, mababait lahat at matatalino. At ngayon ay talagang, yun ang isa sa ikinalulungkot namin na hindi naabutan ng kuya yung naging magagandang buhay ng kanyang anak.
Si Papa more of homebody. Homebody siya lagi sa bahay, saka napaka-religious. Napaka-religious sa tao.
Diyos muna, bago ang lahat. Yun ang inanin sa amin eh. Gigising na around 4 o'clock, then 5 o'clock, pupunta na ng simbahan yan.
Pag Wednesday, talagang Baklaran yan. Friday, talagang Quiapo yan. Kasama kaming lumalakad ng nakaluhod sa Quiapo. Maliit pa kami. Tsaka sa Baklaran din, naalala ko nung maliit kami. Ganun. Consistent yun.
We'd go to Quiapo Church late in the evening, as in 11 p.m. And we'd do the novena. As in, I think my brothers would attest to this, and my sisters would walk on our knees from the door to the altar.
Anywhere, nagdadasal siya. Lalakad yan, may hawak na rosaryo. Basta, he keeps on praying talaga.
I'd see my father pray to Saint Anthony, and I've learned that he donated a life-size statue of Saint Anthony in his hometown, Candaba. I think they have it every June, no? The feast of Saint Anthony. They bring the statue around, and it makes me realize that apart from himself, he wanted people to be devotees as well of such an important saint.
Today, as we celebrate the 100 years of Philippine cinema, Eddie Del Mar stands as a pillar in its history. His career unfolded at a time when Philippine cinema achieved its golden age, with supreme master thinkers, performing talents, craftsmen tackling themes that help define our nation. Not only did he immortalize our national hero on screen,
Walang Diyos, walang pag-asa, walang pag-ibig. Wala na kundi ang katwiran ng lakas. Nagkakamali kayo kung inakala ninyong ang bayan ay wala ng pag-asa. Nagtitiis na ang bayan, ngunit naghihintay pa rin, nananalig. Akong ako na ay hindi sasama sa inyo samantalang nababanaagan ko ang pag-asa sa mga tao. Kung gayo'y gagawin ko nang hindi kayo kasama. Yan na ba ang huli ninyong pasya? Saksi ko ang pangalan ng aking ama. Ako'y magiganti.
all his life he strived to be a Rizal. Thus, Eddie Del Mar will always be remembered as an Ultimo Rizal.